Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 166. Greetings, Montague. The island of Sodor was still trying to recover from the damage left by Diesel 10 a few months earlier, and the engines were working very hard to stay caught up on their jobs. The Elsbridge platform had finally been repaired, and Duck was scheduled to bring some passengers to the station on the day of the reopening. It will be a marvelous ceremony, Sir Topham Hatt told the engines that night. There will be fireworks, a brass band, and food. Oh, yes, lots of food. Like he needs any more of that, chuckled James to himself. I heard that, said Sir Topham Hatt, and because of that snarky comment, James, you will take trucks to Great Waterton instead of joining in on the celebration. Oh, bother, groaned James. I need to learn to keep my mouth shut sometimes. Indeed, said Toby. We are eager for the platform to reopen, sir, just in time for the summer travelers, too. Duck was very proud of the fact that he got to bring the passengers to the reopening. He brought his coach to Knapford Station early the next morning and quickly set off for Elsbridge. Unfortunately, the journey took longer than expected, and Duck rushed in as fast as he could as to not be late. He overshot the platform and crashed into some cargo cars full of food. Toby and Daisy chuckled at Duck's mishap. "Oh, no, the food!" cried Sir Topham Hatt. Duck, you have caused confusion and delay. Your front is damaged and must be repaired. It's off to the works for you again." Duck was embarrassed and felt incredibly silly for making such a foolish mistake. To fill Duck's absence, Percy went and helped Oliver on the Little Western. Thomas and Toby tried to split Percy's duties between themselves, but it was no use. Daisy saw what was going on and told Sir Topham Hatt right away. "They say the extra work doesn't bother them, sir, but they're exhausted by the end of the day. You need to find a way to lighten the load." "Indeed," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I don't know how long Duck will be gone, so I best find an engine to help temporarily. Thank you, Daisy." A few days later, the new engine arrived at Elsbridge Station. He was purple and wore the letters that read GNR. "He's from the Great Northern Railway," whispered Toby to Thomas. "I've heard some good things from up there." "What's so good?" asked Thomas. "The engines are well maintained and work very hard," said Toby. "But the problem is—" "Hello, Sodor," said the engine. "I can tackle this branch line with no trouble at all." "They're very confident, to say the least," murmured Toby. "Overconfident would be correct," said Daisy. "This engine's going to be a handful." "My name's Ryan," said the engine boldly. "I'm looking for the Fat Controller." "That would be me," said Sir Topham Hatt. "But please, call me—" "Oh, dear me," said Ryan. "This platform is in terrible shape. I'm afraid I won't be able to pull my coaches here with such a rustic building scaring away my passengers." Toby was cross. He and the pack had worked hard to repair the Elsbridge platform. "Excuse me, Ryan," said Sir Topham Hatt, "but we do not speak that way about our stations here on Sodor. In fact, this platform was just rebuilt a few days ago." "If you say so," said Ryan brashly. Daisy was horrified. "Watch your mouth," she said crossly. "You're speaking to Sir Topham Hatt here." "My apologies, sir. I'd heard good things about Sodor, but I didn't expect to see such a distasteful piece of—" "That's enough," said Sir Topham Hatt calmly. "Ryan, I know you are young and inexperienced, but on the contrary," interrupted Ryan, "I'm quite spirited and wise, if I may say so myself." "Well, don't say it anyway," grumbled Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt sighed heavily. "Anyway," he continued, "you will be filling in for Duck until he returns." "Excellent," said Ryan. "Where do I pick up his coaches?" The engines chuckled. "Oh, no," laughed Sir Topham Hatt. "Percy is pulling Duck's passengers right now, so you'll be taking freight trains here on Thomas's branch line." Ryan was horrified. "What an outrage!" he cried. Sorry, I have to go now," said Sir Topham Hatt quickly, and he walked away. "Oh dear, what was I thinking?" Ryan turned to the other engines. "Can you believe him? I will not stand for this injustice. Did you see how that fat man insulted me?" I can't imagine why," replied Daisy, and she rolled away. Thomas and Toby could immediately tell that Ryan was going to be a handful. They described his nervy attitude to the other engines. "See," said Oliver, "you always complain Duck is aggravating, but look at his replacement." Gordon wasn't so intimidated. "I'm not scared of this new engine, and I'll show you all tomorrow," he said proudly. The next day, Gordon buffered up to his coaches as Ryan was preparing to leave with a freight train. "You must be the new engine. I'm Gordon, the fastest and proudest engine on Sodor." "Not as fast as Spencer," said Ryan bluntly. This took Gordon by surprise. "Oh, well, how do you know about Spencer? You just got here." "Diesel told me everything last night," replied Ryan. "Since there weren't any open berths in the shed, I spent the night with him, and we had a nice long talk about all of you engines." "Diesel is the last engine you want to be talking to," said Gordon. "He's nothing but trouble." "Whatever," said Ryan indifferently. "Duck will be back soon, and I'll get to leave right after that. By the way, is it true that Duck's real name is Montague? Diesel mentioned it to me, but I wasn't sure." I suppose it is," said Gordon, "but nobody calls him that. Duck is just fine." "Then it's settled," said Ryan. "Montague it is," and he puffed out of the station. "That engine certainly has a mouth on him," said Edward. For the rest of the day, Ryan went around Sodor asking when Montague would be back. Some engines, like Bill and Ben, didn't know who he was talking about. Others, like Boko, tried to straighten Ryan out. "Your cheeky attitude and your bold words will get you into trouble," he told Ryan. "Have some respect for these engines, and they'll respect you in return." "There are two ways of doing things," said Ryan. "The Great Northern Way or the wrong way. And I'm Great Northern, and—" "Where did you hear that?" asked Henry. "That's Duck's favorite line to say." "You mean Montague," said Ryan dismissively, "and Diesel told it to me. He said it would make a great motto, and I have to agree." The engines were losing patience with Ryan, and were ready for him to leave. At last, Duck finally returned from the works a few days later. His friends were overjoyed to see him. "At last," cried Stanley. "Now that new engine can leave and return to the South, or wherever he came from." "I'll help him pack his suitcase," said Percy. "He needs to be gone before the day is up." "What's going on?" asked Duck. "What happened while I was gone?" The engines explained the situation. "His name's Ryan," said Arthur. "He's overconfident and inexperienced." "He's got a bigger attitude than me," exclaimed James, "and that's saying something." Duck chuckled. "Sounds like an engine from the Great Northern Railway. I'll go sort this one out." The next day he found Ryan getting ready to take a train. "Ah, greetings, Montague. So happy to have you back here again." "Stop it," said Duck firmly. "You've been rude to my friends and my controller, and I hope you know I don't stand for this nonsense." Said Ryan quietly. "Diesel was right about you after all. Diesel is a lazy shunter who finds any excuse to complain. I suppose that's why you two are friends, after all." Ryan was shocked. "Don't you dare talk to me that way, Montague. It's Duck, and don't you dare ever treat my friends that way again." "Waddle wheels," muttered Ryan under his breath. Duck was coupled up to his train. "There are two ways of doing things, the Great Western Way or the Great Northern Way." Ryan laughed. "You got it wrong, silly. The second line is the wrong way, as in the Great Northern Way is the wrong way." He suddenly stopped talking. "My point exactly," smiled Duck, "and that's Mr. Waddle Wheels to you." And he puffed away, leaving a very silent and humiliated Ryan behind.